Okay, welcome back, everyone. This is our gut bonus, and we're going to be talking about what are the things that we need specifically to eat. And you can go from one extreme to the other with this. There's always those extremes, and there's always that vast, um, huge chasm of of getting lost in all of this. So you have to decide what is best for your body, and you have to make a decision on what direction you want to go for you and your family. Now, I'm going to give you kind of my journey that I went through, and then you can go from there and decide what it is that you want to do for you. Now, one thing I do suggest kind of now if you've got extreme issues that you need something really quick, some changes that you need to make really fast, then I suggest jumping in cold turkey. Go ahead, grab it, do everything. But if it's something that you're just really wanting to make some lifestyle changes and to see the difference in how your body feels, taking things away, and that kind of thing, then we can talk more about elimination and going from that direction instead of just like really wholeheartedly jumping in crazily. Let me pull up this other thing here. So we have a couple of different directions that we can go and that I can show you. The one direction that I feel like kind of the direction I went. Maybe not as far extreme as like the GAPS diet, because it really is. It's like really truly making every single thing that you eat, you're going to be creating it yourself. Now, a lot of things are extremely easy. Like bone broth is really not hard, but of course you're going to have to make preparations for that. Like you've got to get the chicken that's organic, and you're going to have to go to the farmer's market for that. You're going to have to make specific things or make trips to do certain things to be able to make the products that you need. So think about that as well. You can go ahead, and even if you go to a little bit leaner side, like with the Atkins diet, it's very, very paleo, keto, kind of all the same thing. Very much on the end of more vegetables and protein. Now, protein is a very interesting thing to me, because when I was doing the Atkins, I really thought that I was needing to just totally hold on, I'm trying to find, oh no, I gotta go back. Trying to find something here that I can't remember where it's at. When I started doing oh my word, my mind just completely went blank. When I started doing Atkins, I really thought that protein was this huge, like you needed huge amounts, like this size meat and this size of vegetables at every meal, like 50 and 60 of them, like that's what it makes you feel when you're really looking at it, and it's like, so many grams of this and so many grams of that, and you're eating this at this meal, and it's gonna be a more protein based diet, and so you feel like it's gonna be a big amount, but you're really not eating huge portions of anything. Like meat, I mean, it's still just a little small deck of cards for a 3 ounce. Like that's going to be one meal, 3 ounces of meat, and like you're not going to eat overabundance amounts. When you eat too much, this was something I did not realize, but when you eat too much protein, your body still sees that as something it can't process all of, and it turns it to sugar. So that's not doing you a bit of good, and you're going to end up adding that to fat, because once that it stays in your body and it's not worked off and it's not used, your body then stores it as fat on you. So we don't want to be an overabundance amount. A man, like a 200-pound man, is going to want to eat like around 18 to 19 grams of protein a day, and then ounces. But then you want someone like a woman that is 130 pounds is going to want to eat around 14 or 15 ounces a day. So when you look at it from that viewpoint and you split that up across the entire day, you're still only eating about 4 ounces of protein at each meal. You can have a couple of ounces during, like for snacks, if you ate 2 snacks during the day. So you're not eating gobs and gobs and gobs. But at the same time, the protein is very filling, and it really does help you to feel satisfied. Now, I also say that along with the fact that a good vegetarian diet is really awesome as well. Now, I've got 4 that cannot have any meat whatsoever, and so they're very vegetarian. And now we can have I call them vegetarians with a flair, because they can have a little bit of peanut butter, they have a little bit of eggs, they can have but then I don't have, like, all of them do not like eggs. 2 of the 4 like it and 2 do not, so they're split down the middle. But they can have a little bit of peanut butter and nuts, legumes, peanuts, seeds, that kind of thing. They can have a little bit of that kind of thing. They have to keep their protein to a certain amount of grams a day. And when you really look at it from a gram standpoint, it's a very low amount every day, and they can't have certain types of proteins. So for me, it really, we kind of all have become vegetarian to some degree. Now, if we go out to eat, my husband, of course, we're going to eat meat if we're out. But there's a lot of days our meals at home are just vegetarian, because it's just easier to fix what everybody can eat all together. And like, I've been gluten-free for a very long time, so I've always just kind of made stuff that we can all eat together, and makes it a lot simpler. But since we've been really trying to eliminate and trying to figure out, because even through that amount of pulling things away, we've still had some other issues with inflammation and allergy type symptoms when it comes to certain foods that we eat. So we've really had to buckle down and figure out what else is going on. One thing we have figured out is dairy, because dairy is an inflammatory food. Dairy is also one of those things that, because, now, like the kids their entire life, the doctor has always been, their nutritionist has always said, oh, you need to make sure that you're eating low-fat milk, and they will tell us to drink almond milk sometimes, because it wouldn't have, but they were looking at it from a protein standpoint, not from the fact of how the milk is processed. Well, the milk, once they've processed everything, they've taken out so much of the nutrients, you really have nothing else. You got sugar water basically that's left, and it's very inflammatory into your system. And as I started reading more about dairy, I realized, oh my goodness, this is one of those things that is causing issues in a couple of the kids. And so we've taken the dairy away, and that has been such a beautiful thing to see that some of their symptoms that they were having clear up. That has been wonderful for us. So when you start trying to eliminate things, there are going to be some non-negotiables. These are things that no matter what, we want to eliminate, simply for the fact that they are inflammatory. They are things that's not good for your gut, that even in a normally what you would consider a healthy person, and if you feel like you're not really having any issues, there are silent issues that are there that you may not even realize. So like, if you have joint pain, if you have any kind of allergy symptom, and a lot of times we think of, oh, well, it's because something is blooming, or I'm just allergic to something, or oh, I've just caught a cold. But it's not always just simply that. Sometimes it's reflection of something building up in our system that we don't need, and that our bodies cannot process correctly, and it's really causing an issue in our body, and we don't even know it. So the non-negotiables are gluten, sugar, and dairy. So we want to make sure that we avoid those. Now, according to our elimination diet that I enjoy now, now if you've got some major issues and you've got tons of inflammation and tons of aches and pains, like, or if you're having migraines, or you have a child with autism or ADHD, or you've got some big major things going on, I would really truly suggest you order the GAPS diet book, read it cover to cover, and then work from there, eliminating and working through that diet, because I promise you that's going to be a huge help for you. It's going to make a major difference in your life and in the life of your child or whoever it is that has the issue going on. It is huge, and it is going to be very helpful to do that. If you're just looking at it from a standpoint of, I need to clean up my food, I want a lifestyle change, I'm wanting to lose some weight, I'm wanting to feel better, I really want some energy, then I'm going to give you a protocol for an elimination diet. It's extremely easy, and it's not, I say it's easy. It's hard to make yourself go to this process, but if you make yourself do it and you make it through the 30 days, then your body is off of the sugar, it's off of the dairy, and it's off the gluten, and you really don't care anymore. Like, if you can work through the process, you are going to feel so much better. So like your first week, you are going to completely, like each week you're going to take away another type of food item. You're going to start off with something simple. Well, I say simple. I guess kind of the, I guess as simple as it can be. And when you're eliminating and you're totally changing things. The easiest way I can describe this is eat protein in a moderate amount. Like, just try to be, try like the first week to do one meal without any protein in it. Just, kind of, eat 2 good meals that have protein, and the next meal take away the protein. So you can eat all vegetables except for white potatoes, lettuce, and corn. Now, corn is another thing that is very inflammatory, and your body cannot break it down. So it doesn't get through the process like it needs to. It causes more problems than it does help. And corn is, like, it used to be a major staple for us, and we have to just like avoid it now. As much locally grown, in season, organic food as possible. So any kind of vegetable, but keep it organic as much as possible. Now, I know sometimes it's hard to find organic, and I know organic is expensive. But try to keep it as close as possible. Oh my goodness, the pollen is going to drive me crazy. Highlight cleansing foods like artichokes, asparagus, beets, radishes, and fresh herbs. Put as many of those inside your recipes as you possibly can. Coconut milk or unsweetened almond milk are good for you to drink. Just avoid any regular milk at all. Focus on organic berries and frozen berries when eating fruit. Now, a lot of fruit, like bananas, are good, but they are very high in starch. And so that's going to be something that's not going to be as good for you as the berries. The berries are very low glycemic impact on your body. And it's also going to very much help you to keep a good blood sugar balance throughout the day, or whenever you're drinking it or eating it. Now, I put berries in, I like to make me a little smoothie, and I put a little bit of raspberries, or a lot of times I do raspberries, cherries, and blueberries kind of together all in one. I put some ice, fill it with water, and put a tiny bit of stevia in there, and that's really good. Now, stevia is a natural sugar, especially if you get one that's good and organic. It is a good sugar for you, and it's something you can use in moderation. Lean animal protein Make sure it's organic: chicken, fish, turkey, lamb, eggs. Just try to keep it simple and keep it to smaller amounts. And you can put it like over your salads, making something with with the vegetables and everything. Legumes and beans, including lentils, but not peanuts. Peanuts can cause a problem, especially if you've got like diverticulitis or something like that. The peanuts get stuck in there. Healthy fats would be avocado, unsweetened coconut, nuts and seeds, olive oil, coconut oil, and ghee at every meal. Now, ghee is a clarified butter, so you can use that to replace your butter, and it's really good. Coconut, unsweetened coconut, the oil is really good. Like, I cook with it all the time. It's very awesome. Make sure that when you're cooking with olive oil or any of these oils, if you do it, like if you're frying a food, so like, which we're not going to be frying foods with this particular diet, but if you warm up an oil that's too high, then it really breaks it down and it doesn't have the same benefit to your body that it should, and it's not good for you. So you want to make sure that you don't overheat the oil. You don't want it like bubbling or like smoking or anything like that. You want it to be just in the pan. So like, say you're going to do like a stir fry and you've got a bunch of vegetables to stir fry, you can use organic frozen vegetables. Put it in your frying pan and then put your coconut oil or your olive oil, whatever it is that you want to use, on it. Put a little bit of water first and let it cook in the water, and then sprinkle the oil over it as you're cooking the vegetables, just so that it's not overheating in that process. Whole grains like quinoa, I always say that wrong, millet, buckwheat, and brown rice are all okay to incorporate into meals. Those are some good. Now just make sure that they're gluten-free. Check the labels and make sure they're gluten-free, because the gluten actually is like a protein. Let me read this little thing about gluten to you. Let me see where I am. For the last 50 plus years, wheat has been a hybridized and crossbred with grains and species, then sprayed with chemical fertilizers and pesticides. One study alone from the USDA found that 16 different pesticides in wheat flour, that there was 16 different pesticides in wheat flour. Once they actually get to the lab, it's enriched. If you see the word enriched on any bread, pasta, or cereal, run the other way as fast as you can. It's enriched with fake vitamins and synthetics that can cause unbelievable damage to the gut, to the minerals in your body, and your ability to absorb the real vitamins that are out there. Non-enriched bread is very hard to find. One bread, which I had this on the other video too, that the Killer Bread, David's Killer Bread, is really good, and you can order it from Amazon. But gluten is actually a protein found in wheat, rye, spelt, and barley. The word is derived from the Latin word for glue, because it's like an elastic. It's very elastic, and it sticks to your gut, which is not good. Blocks of undigested protein from the gluten slide down into the small intestine and slow the absorption of other nutrients. Our bodies look at gluten as foreign, and the immune system attacks it. It's basically priming the small intestine for digestive issues. A better alternative is coconut or almond flour. When people eliminate gluten 100%, try it. If you'll try it for 30 days, and just to see if any of the symptoms subside, you will probably be very surprised. I mean, I hate to say that everybody would have a problem with this. Kind of where my mind was kind of going, but if you think that you might have an issue at all with gluten, I would say just cut gluten anyway, because it's just really not good for your body. I mean, you've already got so many pesticides and so much stuff in that, and then you're putting that inside your body, and it's just glue, and that's just horrible. So if you think that there's an issue at all, go ahead and just eliminate the gluten altogether and be done with it, because it's definitely not going to hurt you whatsoever. Sea salt, ground pepper, and other spices are okay for you to eat. Raw honey, backstrap molasses, brown rice, and coconut sugar and stevia to sweeten is okay. So those are things that you can eat. You will be very surprised at what you can eat, and you'll be very surprised even that your kids, if you decide that your kids are having some issues or they have ADHD or any problem like that, you will notice a huge difference when you take them off of the sugar, off of the cookies, off of all the processed stuff. Like, you will be surprised, and you'll be very surprised to know how easy it is for them to choose the to choose good foods. It may take you a couple of weeks to get them into that place. One thing that was funny to me is my two littlest ones, they just really liked cookies all the time, and it seemed like that was all they were eating. And then I stopped buying cookies altogether, and I was trying to remember, I don't think they ever even have asked for cookies, period. Like, I don't think that's even been an issue at all. And so I think that's pretty interesting. Now, every now and then they'll say, I want something good to eat. But they very rarely ask for anything. Like, they haven't even asked for any kind of cookie. But, like, if we go to, like, the other day, my uncle died, and we had a funeral. And so, of course, family fixes food and all that stuff. So we had gobs of food. Everybody eats what they're just going to eat. I don't try to make it a big deal for the whole world to have to deal with our way of eating, but I try to just kind of make it, then as soon as we come back home, we get back to our normal routine. So, of course, they naturally eat a lot of things on those days that they get those special treats. They're going to eat something probably that's not needed at the time, but I'm not going to make a big deal out of it out in public. Now, for me, I don't eat, which I can't eat the gluten anyway, but even on other things, like, I just go ahead and eat what I know I want, like, I need to eat, and I don't worry about, like, I'm feeding myself. So if I feel like I need some other food, I take my food with me, or if I'm not worried about it and I don't want to make a big deal, then I'll just kind of nibble at something that looks like it might be okay for me to eat. And I try to just not make a big deal, because there's really, I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, well, you don't have anything that you can't feed me. Like, that's just very, very selfish. So just, if you're going to eat healthy, but don't try to make the whole rest of the world feel guilty because they're not, or make them think that they've got to do something different to accommodate you in a special occasion. You just have to know what you're going to eat and know what you're going to do in that situation. So the things that we need to avoid, of course, sodas, gum, breath mints, all of these have different kinds of chemicals in them that are not good for your gut. All of those are going to have, even if it's diet soda, the different types of sweeteners that they do use in that have been known to cause cancer and to cause brain issues. So you really don't want to have any more of that kind of problem than you need to. Avoid sugars of all kinds. You can have stevia or organic honey that is around your area, like a fresh honey from your area. Low fat or sweetened dairy products, do not, just avoid those altogether. Just, there's no reason to drink any of it. Try to go with the almond flour, or almond milk or something like that. White foods such as potatoes, rice cakes, breads, anything like that. Avoid those kind of foods. White-based foods, including breads, pastas, and baked goods. Coffee and sodas, alcohol, soy, and including tofu and soy milk. Soy is really bad. It is probably one of the worst things for you to eat. So just avoid soy altogether. I know when we talk about eating vegetarian, that a lot of times soy is one of those things that's in all the meals. to give you some protein, but just avoid that altogether. You can find other things to substitute. Small amounts of fermented soy products like wheat-free tamari, tempeh, and miso are okay when you do small amounts of that kind of thing, but not your, but just kind of avoid certain, all of those big soy products. Pork and beef, just avoid those altogether. Those tend to be a little bit more inflammatory in the gut. Processed foods, even tortilla chips, which tortilla chips are made out of corn, and even though the corn is all squished up, they're still kind of processed because of how they're put together. Try to avoid salt, or at least small amounts of salt. Don't put just gobs and gobs on your food. And food in cans that are labeled organic and BPA, there are some Eden Organic and Native Forest. Those are okay because of how they're processed and how they're put in the cans and everything. That's okay. But try to avoid your normal canned goods. They're usually not real great. Now, I enjoy making a smoothie, which I said earlier, and you're going to find that making as many smoothies as possible and really getting them to taste good is going to be your best friend, especially if you have kids. My kids absolutely love their smoothies now, and sometimes they'll drink them for breakfast. Sometimes they'll drink them in the afternoon even for supper. They love it, and that has been one of the best ways to get some fruit and vegetables into them, because you mix it all up together. You can even add like some spinach or whatever into it and get them to drinking it that way. Now, one thing that I want you to think about, I want you to think in terms of eating kind of like a what do you call it? My word, my brain, my words are not coming out. Intermittent fasting. Think of it kind of like that to some degree. You want to spend a lot longer time in your fasting phase. Now, what I do is I try to eat breakfast at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then I stop eating no later than 5 o'clock. Anytime in between there is fine. Anytime you want to eat anything. So when you first wake up in the morning, if you wake up at 6 o'clock, 6:30, whatever, drink an 8-ounce cup of water, put some lemon in it. Apple cider vinegar is great for inflammation. It's great for your joints. My grandmother, who's 93 years old, she has drank apple cider vinegar forever. She's still going strong. She's great. It's amazing to me. She has had a 4 bypass heart surgery. She's had ovarian cancer. She's had breast cancer, and 2 knee surgeries, and she just keeps on going. And my mother laughs that she's in better health than she is, and my mother's 76. So there's a lot to be said for little home remedies. So apple cider vinegar is a great way to get some of that inflammation reduced down and get some of the inflammation, like even the bloatedness of your body. So take that 8 ounces of water with the apple cider vinegar and 2 capsules of omega-3 fish oil. Now, like we have with Young Living, we have Omega-Gize, which is my favorite, and it is one thing I like about it is the fact that your body does not absorb vitamins as well sometimes. And if you're getting your vitamins from the grocery store, your body can only absorb about 30% of what vitamins are there. But with the oil added into it, being infused in with the vitamins, your body actually is able to absorb 80% of the vitamins with the oil. The oil has tons of benefits of its own. All of the they're very, very, like, for your mind, for your body, they're very relaxing, very helpful to help keep your energy up and your vibration, your whatever you want, frequency, whatever you want to call it, your energy levels, keep it up as high as it can be, and helps you to feel good in the process. So Omega Gi's is my favorite, and that's what we take every single day. But drink that as soon as you wake up in the mornings. That will help to kind of curb your appetite as well and keep you from being thirsty or hungry until it's time to eat around 8 or 9 o'clock. If you go ahead and if you have a hard time getting like you're getting hungry easy in the mornings or something, or late in the evening, then Sleek Essence is amazing to be able to help you to kind of curb that appetite. I'll put it in my water and I just sip on it all morning or in the afternoons, and it keeps you from being hungry while at the same time it's got lemon in it, which helps to detox your body. It's got spearmint, which is good for your joints and everything too. So it's very good. But then all the other rest of the meals can be spread out between that 8 to 5 every day. Spread out your breakfast, lunch, dinner. You can have 2 snacks in between there. With each meal, drink a cup of water with some lemon in it, and the lemon will help to detox, like I said before. In the evenings, once you're done eating, then you can do that Sleek Essence or some more lemon, and it will just help your body to get rid of any extra toxins it's had through the day. It will give it that time of rest so your body can rebuild, and then when you're asleep, your body can rebuild itself. So it'll repair itself from the full day. So that is like the diet in a nutshell. You would do that for an entire month. Now, like I said, the non-negotiables, the things that must be changed and must be taken away, is the dairy and gluten and sugar. All of those things really need to be taken out of your diet altogether, and then you can work with some of these other things. Try to eat as much organic veggies and fruits as you possibly can, and focus more on the fruits and vegetables and not so much about the protein. But you can add in some of the other proteins, some of the legumes, some of the nuts, different nuts and seeds that you can add in to get that protein level up. If you have any questions, please let me know. I am more than happy to help you in any way. Now I can set you up your very own protocol if you would really like to talk to me, and we can set you up your own supplements, your own specifically more for what you need. We can set up your diet plan that's specifically more for you. So let me know, and I can help walk you through all of these things, and we can work together, and I can help you, especially like if you've got kids that you're really wanting and needing to see some changes in them. I can help you work through a process with them to kind of start eliminating some things while helping them to feel good and not feel like they're losing anything as well, because that's what I had to do with mine. I had to we just kept taking little steps back, and it felt like baby steps, but it actually, in the end, it has been amazing to see the difference and the change. Not to say that we don't have these fallbacks, and not to say that you're not going to have a moment that everybody's like, oh my word, I've got to have some like real food or some real candy, like I laugh when it's the girls' time of month. I always like say, okay, let's go get the chocolate. We'll go buy a couple of everybody gets a bar of chocolate, because everybody's kind of on the same cycle. And so we'll get some chocolate, and I'm like, okay, enjoy this. This is your moment. And then we move back and get back into normal. But our bodies, women, our hormones are so crazy, and sometimes those cravings are there for a reason, and sometimes we need those kind of things. It gives us a relaxation, and it really helps our body when we don't completely deprive itself every single time sometimes we have to deprive ourselves. Like if you've got an overgrowth of yeast, yes, you're going to have to deprive yourself, because you're going to be starving for sugar in general, and you're going to have to deprive yourself. But there are things that I can help you with that we can work through that as well, and not be quite so crazy over the sugar. So that is another thing that we can do as well. Good grief, sorry. So let me know, please let me know, and I am here to help you in any way possible, because that's what I love to do, is to help people set out a plan and work their plan, and we can get it done together. So I hope you have a great day. I hope this has been helpful, and I will talk to you very soon.